Researchers from the University of the Free State recently warned wheat producers of the imminent danger of a Russian wheat aphid in South Africa and neighboring countries. Joining me now, one of the researchers, Dr. Lintle Mohase. Dr. Mohase, what is a Russian wheat aphid and how prevalent is it in South Africa or Southern Africa?
Thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you for this opportunity to share my research and my experiences with this aphid. So this aphid is a small lime green sap-feeding insect. It especially feeds on cereal grasses like wheat, like barley. It is present in all wheat growing regions in South Africa and of course in the neighboring countries. But we should note here that it is present throughout the world. It is not just unique to South Africa. But what makes it unique is over time, the insect evolved into biotypes with increased virulence, which is the ability to damage crops. So the biotypes, for instance, in South Africa are unique to South Africa. They're different from the biotypes that exist, for instance, in the US. So it is important that in South Africa, we devise strategies, mechanisms to manage our crop. So every time there's a new biotype, it comes with increased virulence.
So how long has it been with us, specifically in South Africa?
Okay, so this biotype, this aphid particularly, it didn't originate in South Africa, but it was first recorded in South Africa in 1978. It was recorded in the Eastern Free State, the Bethlehem region, and from there it spread to different areas within South Africa. And remember, this is a specific feeder. It feeds on wheat, it feeds on barley, but also it feeds on other grasses. So it has been a problem since 1978. But at that time, there were strategies because there were sources of resistance and resistant cultivars were bred. But like I said, over time, it evolves into damaging variants or biotypes. So by now, we have biotype-5.
What is the imminent danger posed by biotype-5?
This new biotype, biotype-5, is the latest biotype developed. It is an imminent danger simply because there is no resistance to this biotype. That means all the wheat cultivars on the market are susceptible to this aphid because there is no source of resistance. So wheat production is under threat.
And how does it affect the livelihoods of South Africans?
So biotype-5 poses a great danger to all livelihoods. The major concern is reduced food security. In the presence of biotype, we cannot produce sufficient wheat and we shall import more wheat, and prices of wheat products such as bread is going to rise. Secondly, reduced production means decline in profits for farmers and job losses for people working, say, in farms, in agri-processing industries. This further worsens the livelihoods of people. So we as scientists must intensify our research efforts to identify new sources of resistance and to interact with farmers to monitor the insect populations and any changes therein, and as well as crop damage in the field.
How are the scientists handling this problem?
So I'm particularly conducting research on wheat aphid interactions. So in this field, it is important to understand host defense mechanisms so that at least specific processes could be targeted to improve plant resistance to aphids. We have identified, at least within my research group, some hormones, particularly salicylic acid, that regulate defense responses to aphids. And we have supplied salicylic acid at least to susceptible plants to monitor performance against aphids. And in this research team, I'm also working closely with Dr. Mafa, who studies processes that increase the cell wall strength to reduce aphid penetration and obviously feeding. But of course, this is a problem in South Africa. It is not unique to the Free State, for instance, but to all wheat growing regions. So there are other scientists, particularly at Stellenbosch University, at the University of Johannesburg, at the Agricultural Research Center in Bethlehem. And all these groups, all the scientists are actually joining hands to understand this effort and the impact it has on plants. And we're working at we're using different strategies. For instance, at Stellenbosch University and the University of Johannesburg, they use genetic expression and bioinformatics to distinguish the biotypes and the virulence factors. And for instance, at ARC, there are studies on pesticide resistance in aphid management.
And how are farmers dealing with the problem, and what is the solution according to you?
So there have been some surveys. The latest survey was in 2022, and they indicate that, remember, we have 5 biotypes, and the specific biotypes in specific regions may differ. But now biotype-5 is prevalent in the Free State, in the Northern Cape, and in the Western Cape. So farmers, they see this pest in their fields, they usually spray with pesticides, of course, to save their crop. However, this is not the best solution, because there are already indications that aphids are beginning to tolerate the pesticides, which is a real problem, because it leaves the farmers with limited options. So in the meantime, farmers should consider at least planting a different variety of wheat cultivars with varying resistance, because those varying resistance to the existing aphids could actually reduce the selection pressure that drives aphid evolution into these virulent biotypes. And again, there should be that close interaction with researchers, because there has to be constant monitoring of this insect in the field, and also that constant monitoring of the damage that whatever insect populations that could be biotypes, the damage that they're actually inflicting on the crops. And if there is that close interaction working together, then we can actually monitor this biotype development, and of course, keep on advising farmers. And perhaps within the research group, there are alternative strategies that we're working on. For instance, using certain nutrients to enhance resistance. We could use the fields to test that, because we have greenhouses, we have the lab, but then we can extend our investigations to the field to see how it really performs in the field. So I think that interaction with the farmers is very important.
That was Dr. Lintle Mohase from the University of Free State talking to us about the imminent danger of a Russian wheat aphid.